Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're diving into a topic that's super important for anyone looking to improve their study game, building positive habits that actually stick.
That's right, Maya. Whether you're a student preparing for exams or someone balancing work and learning, the right habits can transform the way you approach your goals. Let's talk about how to make those habits work for you.
So, Tom, what's your take on where to start when trying to build better habits for studying?
I'd say start small. People often aim to big, like saying, I'll study 5 hours every day. Instead, commit to something more manageable, like 25 minutes a day. You can always build from there.
I totally agree. And it's not just about setting the habit, it's about pairing it with something you already do. For example, study right after breakfast or while drinking your morning coffee. That makes it easier to remember.
Absolutely, Maya. That's called habit stacking. When you connect a new habit to an existing one, it feels more natural. Another tip is to create a dedicated study space. It signals to your brain, this is where I focus.
Oh, the environment makes a huge difference. I think keeping distractions away is key, too. Turn off notifications. Put your phone in another room if you have to. It's all about protecting that focus time.
Right, and rewards are important too. After a study session, treat yourself. Maybe it's a short walk, a snack, or even watching your favorite show. Rewards reinforce the habit.
And I think tracking progress is just as important. Use a journal or a habit tracker to see how consistent you've been. It's super motivating to see those streaks build up.
So true. And let's not forget about accountability. Whether it's a study buddy, a mentor, or even sharing your goals with friends, having someone check in on you helps keep you on track.
100%, Tom. And for those tough days when motivation feels low, remind yourself why you started. Keeping the bigger picture in mind can push you to keep going, even when it feels hard.
Couldn't have said it better. Habits aren't built overnight, but with consistency and a little patience, they can become second nature.
Another thing that really helps is breaking tasks into smaller steps. When you have a big topic to study or a long project to complete, it can feel overwhelming. But if you break it into chunks, it's much easier to tackle and less intimidating.
That's a great point. Sometimes people procrastinate just because the task seems too big. By dividing it into smaller pieces, you can focus on one thing at a time, which also gives you a sense of accomplishment as you complete each step.
Exactly. And speaking of procrastination, I think one of the best ways to fight it is by setting a timer and committing to work for a short period like 10 or 15 minutes. Once you start, it's often easier to keep going.
Oh, that's the Pomodoro technique, isn't it? Work for 25 minutes, then take a 5-minute break. It's such a simple method, but it's super effective for staying focused without burning out.
Totally, and those short breaks can be a great opportunity to recharge. Stretching, grabbing a glass of water, or even stepping outside for a moment can help clear your mind and boost your energy for the next session.
Speaking of energy, let's not forget the importance of sleep. I know it sounds basic, but if you are not well rested, it's hard to concentrate and retain information. Sleep is like the secret weapon for better learning.
Oh, absolutely. Sleep not only helps with focus, but also with memory. What you study during the day gets consolidated in your brain while you're sleeping. So pulling all-nighters might seem productive, but they're actually counterproductive.
Right. And I think another overlooked factor is staying hydrated and eating well. Your brain needs fuel to function, and a healthy diet can make a huge difference in your overall productivity and mood.
That's so true, Tom. And I think it's also important to remember that everyone's rhythm is different. Some people are most productive in the morning, while others find their focus peaking in the evening. Understanding when you work best can help you make the most of your time.
Yes, finding your optimal time to study is a game changer. Pair that with consistent effort and self-awareness, and you'll set yourself up for long-term success.
Another thing that I think is crucial for effective studying is creating the right environment. Your surroundings can either help you focus or completely distract you. Having a designated study space, free from clutter and distractions, makes a big difference.
Absolutely. And I'd add that minimizing digital distractions is a big one too. Turning off notifications or using apps that block certain websites can really help you stay on track. It's so easy to lose focus when your phone keeps lighting up.
True, and music can also be helpful depending on what you're studying. Some people swear by instrumental music or ambient sounds to help them concentrate. Personally, I like using white noise or rain sounds. It's calming and blocks out background noise.
That's a great idea. I've also heard of people using playlists with specific tracks they only play when they study. It becomes like a mental cue, signaling to their brain that it's time to focus.
That's interesting. It's almost like creating a study ritual. I think routines are really powerful for building consistency. If you always study at the same time, in the same place, it becomes a habit, and you don't have to rely as much on willpower.
Definitely. And routines also help reduce decision fatigue. If you know when and where you're going to study, you don't waste time thinking about it. You just do it automatically, which makes everything feel easier.
And I think it's equally important to know when to stop. Taking breaks or even stepping away for a day can prevent burnout and give you fresh energy when you return to studying. Rest is just as important as effort.
That's a good point. Overloading yourself can actually lead to diminishing returns. Sometimes the most productive thing you can do is take a step back, clear your mind, and then dive back in with a fresh perspective.
Exactly. It's about balance, knowing when to push yourself and when to give yourself some grace. I think that's the key to sustainable, long-term progress.
Speaking of balance, another strategy that works wonders is switching up your study techniques. Sticking to one method can get monotonous. But when you try things like active recall, mind mapping, or even teaching someone else, it keeps your brain engaged and helps you retain information better.
Oh, I love the teaching method. Explaining a concept to someone else really forces you to understand it on a deeper level. Plus, it helps you identify gaps in your knowledge that you might not notice otherwise.
Absolutely. And group study can be great for that too. Discussing topics with others often gives you new insights and perspectives you wouldn't think of on your own. But, of course, the group dynamic needs to stay focused, or it can turn into a social hour.
Right, it's a fine line. And for some people, studying solo works better, especially if they need complete quiet to focus. I guess it really comes down to knowing yourself and what environment or methods work best for your personality and goals.
Exactly. Self-awareness is such a big part of effective studying. For example, some people thrive in the early morning when their minds are fresh, while others are night owls and do their best thinking after dark.
True, and experimenting with different routines is a good way to figure out what works. I remember trying out a strict morning schedule for a week and realizing I'm much more productive in the afternoons. It's all about trial and error.
And being okay with adjusting as you go. Sometimes your needs change depending on the subject or your life situation, and that's fine. Flexibility is just as important as consistency in the long run.
Couldn't agree more. I also think incorporating rewards into your study routine helps with motivation. It doesn't have to be anything big, maybe watching an episode of your favorite show after finishing a chapter or grabbing your favorite snack after a study session.
Rewards are such a great motivator. They create a positive association with studying and give you something to look forward to. It's like training your brain to enjoy the process.
And that's the key, isn't it? Making the process enjoyable so it doesn't feel like a chore. I think one overlooked aspect of studying is finding ways to make it fun. Like gamifying your progress, earning study sessions into challenges or quizzes you create for yourself.
That's a great idea. Gamification really taps into that competitive spirit, even if you're just competing with yourself. Plus, there's something satisfying about seeing how much you've accomplished, like unlocking levels in a game.
Exactly. And speaking of accomplishments, I think journaling about what you've learned can also be powerful. It's a way to reflect on what you've covered, solidify the knowledge, and track your growth over time.
Definitely. And it helps you stay connected to your goals. Writing down what you're learning reminds you of why you're studying in the first place. It's easy to lose sight of the bigger picture when you're bogged down with daily tasks.
So true. Another thing I've found helpful is studying with variety. Like rotating between reading, watching videos, and practicing hands-on. It prevents boredom and keeps your brain active because it's engaging with the material in different ways. Totally agree. They say that using multiple senses while learning helps improve retention. And for subjects like languages, for instance, speaking, listening, and writing all reinforce each other.
Exactly. And on the topic of languages, immersion is such a powerful tool. If you can't physically travel, just surrounding yourself with content in the language you're learning, movies, music, Podcasts can make a huge difference. Oh, for sure. Immersion helps you pick up nuances you'd miss in textbooks, like colloquial expressions and cultural context. It's not just about learning the language, but also understanding how it's used in everyday life.
And that brings us back to the idea of making learning a part of your lifestyle. Whether it's a language or any other subject, weaving it into your daily routine makes it feel less like work and more like a natural part of who you are.
That's the ultimate goal, isn't it? To not just study for the sake of it, but to build habits and routines that genuinely enhance your life and knowledge every day.
And I think when learning becomes part of your lifestyle, it's no longer about just achieving a specific goal, it's about ongoing growth. You're constantly learning, adapting, and improving, and that mindset carries over into other areas of life too.
Definitely, Maya. It's like creating a learning mindset where curiosity drives you. You start to approach everything with the question, what can I learn from this? And that keeps you open to new perspectives.
And that curiosity helps you stay motivated because you're not just focused on the outcome, but you're genuinely enjoying the process of discovery. I think people often lose motivation because they see learning as a checklist instead of an exploration.
So true. And with exploration, there's always room for experimentation. Not every study method works for everyone, and that's okay. You've got to try different things. Maybe flashcards work for one subject, while group discussions are better for another.
Yes, tailoring your approach is so important. It's about figuring out what clicks for you. Some people thrive on structured schedules, while others prefer a more flexible, spontaneous style. It's not one size fits all.
And the beauty of that is once you find what works, it becomes so much easier to stay consistent. It's no longer about forcing yourself, it's about looking forward to what you're going to learn next. Exactly. And I think that's where self-compassion comes in too. If you have an off day or you don't meet your study goals, it's important not to beat yourself up over it. Progress is still progress, even if it's slow. That's such a good reminder. Learning is a journey, not a race. And those small, consistent steps you take, even on tough days, add up to something big over time. It's all about staying in the game and not giving up.
Absolutely, and surrounding yourself with a supportive environment makes all the difference too. Whether it's friends, mentors, or even online communities, having people who encourage and inspire you keeps you going, even when things get tough.
Yeah, learning is rarely a solo effort. Collaboration and connection can make the process not only more effective, but also more enjoyable. Sharing ideas and learning from others opens up so many opportunities you might not have considered on your own.
And it all circles back to the idea that learning is about growth both personally and with others. It's not just about reaching a goal, but about who you become along the way.
And you know, Maya, that growth mindset really helps us embrace challenges. Instead of seeing obstacles as reasons to stop, we start viewing them as opportunities to learn and grow. It's like, okay, this is hard now, but what can I take away from this experience?
That's such a healthy perspective. Challenges can actually be motivating if you shift how you see them. They're a chance to stretch your abilities and discover new strengths. It's about focusing on what you gain, not what you struggle with.
Exactly. And when you look at challenges that way, you also stop comparing your journey to others. Everyone has their own path, their own timeline. What matters is staying true to your progress and not getting caught up in comparisons.
So true, Tom. It's so easy to fall into the comparison trap, especially with social media. But learning is personal, and what works for someone else might not work for you. That's why it's important to celebrate your own unique journey.
And speaking of celebrating, taking time to reflect on your achievements, no matter how small, helps you stay grounded. When you look back and see how far you've come, it's a reminder of your capabilities and the effort you've put in.
That's such a powerful habit, Tom. Reflection isn't just about recognizing success, it's also a chance to identify what you can improve. It's a constant loop of growth. You try, you learn, you adapt, and then you try again.
And the more you practice that loop, the more resilient you become. You start to realize that mistakes or setbacks aren't the end of the world. They're just part of the process.
Exactly, and over time, that resilience makes you more confident, not just in learning, but in life overall. You start to trust yourself and your ability to handle whatever comes your way.
It's amazing how learning, when approached with the right mindset, can transform so much more than just your knowledge or skills. It shapes your perspective, your habits, and even your relationships.
And it all starts with those small, consistent steps, one action at a time, one day at a time. It's a simple approach, but it's so impactful in the long run.
And Maya, I think another key piece is adaptability. When you're learning or working towards a goal, things don't always go as planned. Being flexible and willing to adjust your methods can make a huge difference.
Absolutely, Tom. It's important to remind ourselves that there isn't just one right way to achieve something. Sometimes you have to try different strategies to figure out what works best for you. That's part of the process too.
And being adaptable also helps when you face unexpected challenges. Instead of getting stuck or frustrated, you can pivot and find a new way forward. It's all about keeping the bigger picture in mind.
That's such a valuable mindset to have. And I think this ties back to the importance of curiosity. When you approach learning with curiosity, you're naturally more open to experimenting and exploring new ideas. It keeps things exciting, too.
Definitely, Maya. Curiosity is what keeps the journey fresh and engaging. When you're curious, you're more likely to push yourself outside your comfort zone and discover things you wouldn't have otherwise.
And that sense of discovery is so rewarding, isn't it? Even small insights or breakthroughs can feel like big wins when you're genuinely curious and open to learning.
Absolutely. And I think curiosity also helps combat burnout. When you focus on the joy of learning rather than just the end result, it's easier to stay motivated and enjoy the process. Right. And the toolkit isn't just for academic or professional growth. It applies to every aspect of life, relationships, hobbies, personal development. It's a mindset that you carry with you everywhere.
Exactly. It's about creating a foundation of habits and attitudes that support continuous improvement, no matter what you're working on. That's the beauty of it. It's all interconnected.
And the best part is, it's never too late to start. Whether you're learning something new or revisiting a forgotten skill, every step forward counts. It's all progress, and it's all worth celebrating.
So true, Tom. Every day is an opportunity to grow, even in the smallest ways. It's just a matter of showing up and staying open to what the journey has to offer.
And Maya, I think that's the perfect note to wrap this up, showing up every day and staying open to the journey. Growth isn't about perfection. It's about progress, curiosity, and consistency.
Absolutely, Tom. It's about embracing the process, adapting when necessary, and celebrating those small wins along the way. No matter where you are in your journey, every step matters.
Exactly. And to everyone listening, remember this. It's okay to start small, to experiment, and to take things one day at a time. The important thing is to keep moving forward.
And with the right mindset and habits, there's no limit to what you can achieve. Thanks so much for joining us in today's conversation. We hope this inspires you to keep learning, growing, and enjoying the process.
Take care, everyone, and we'll catch you in the next episode.
Bye.